There you're. Hey.
Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Happy Friday. Today is our Digital Professional Development Fridays, and we have special guests with us. And I'm so excited to have Everfi, and Facebook with us to teach us more skills and to add to our toolkit how we support families in a digital professional development, digital platform. And of course, our amazing empowerment team that will be introducing themselves in a few minutes. We also have Diana Miller, who will assist me today in our chat to answer any questions that you may have regarding FACE. She will be here. We will be engaging with you throughout the chat and just kind of enjoying the presentation as you are watching. So enjoy your time. And I want to introduce that we are having next month Family Engagement Empowerment Month. Yes. So before I introduce this concept, in the chat, October, I want you to answer this. I want you to finish this sentence for me. October, we celebrate dot dot dot. So let me see on your chat. What do you normally celebrate in October? What are some of the awareness initiatives that you are aware of? Let's see. Let me take a look at the chat. Oh, breast cancer. That's correct. Breast cancer. What else do you celebrate? Hispanic Heritage Month. Okay, awesome. Bullying. Yes. Okay, so we got it. Oh, we also have Digital Citizenship Week. Woohoo! So all of these things we celebrate. And next month is all about celebrating families, partnerships, and community engagement. So raise your hands if you are a representative of a family-facing community. Oh, I see those hands going up. That's right. It's all about us next month. So what I want you guys to think about is what are some ideas or what's some of activities that you can promote for Family Engagement Month. So the idea is for you, and we actually next week, next Friday, I'm going to introduce the Family Engagement Toolkit for next month. So we will have some fun activities. We have amazing partners from Common Sense Education to Wide Open Schools. The Nets, the Brooklyn Nets is going to partner up with the DOE. So we will have live clinics from the Nets. We will also have read alouds from some of our amazing partners. And we're also, what's really cool is we're going to kick off the Parent University next month. It's all about parent empowerment, and we need your help in order to engage all of our families to bring awareness of who we are in our schools and how we promote parent empowerment. So think about some ways that you can bring awareness to activities that happen in your school. So I'm really happy to introduce my co-host, Laura, who then will let us know what's happening throughout our time today. But again, um, you will have the opportunity next week to learn all about our family engagement month and all the activities that we have lined up for you. Um, and with that said, I just want to turn it over to our wonderful host, Laura. Hi,
Thank you
everybody.
so much. So we're actually going to run through some introductions, and then we've got Tali who's going to share some important information as well. So we are DIIT, the Division of Instructional and Information Technology. My name is Laura Ogando. I'm one of the program managers for the Office of Digital Literacy and Inclusion. I'm going to pass it over to Lisa.
Hold on one second. Hello, PCs and the rest. We're really happy to have you here today. I thank all of you who've been with us for the past few weeks, and welcome to the newcomers. Some of you know I've been with the DOE since the 90s, and I love parent coordinators. I was so excited when that role was created, and I'm really excited to be learning with you all. And with that, I'll turn it over to Christina.
Hi, everybody. I don't have a cool little fancy mic like Lisa does, but good morning. Happy Friday. Excited to be here. Also at DIIT, part of the EdTech program. assisting this lovely group, and passing it back to Laura.
Awesome. And we have Latiqua, who actually is here today, again, in the background. All of us are in the chat. We know that right now we have over 130 something participants, but please feel free to use the chat. We are moderating, and we know that there is going to be a lot of information shared, as is common now with these Friday PDs. So please, if there's something that you want support in, if you have a question, please drop it in the chat. We will absolutely make sure that it gets addressed. And then I'm going to hand it over to Tally, our partner from Common Sense.
Okay, great. Thanks so much, everyone. And I know I'm kind of in the background here with the light, but I don't have a cool microphone, but I tried to do an underwater theme to match the weather outside. And I think I've said this before, but I am a former DOE teacher, and I just have to give a shout out to Mrs. Shamana, who, as a new struggling teacher, really saved me. She was an amazing parent coordinator. I will probably do this every week with the hopes at some point I can reconnect with her. And I'm also a DOE parent. And so really, thank you so much. And if we go to the next slide, I'm really excited because next week is Digital Citizenship Week. I know Lisa popped some links in the chat. I did as well. Digital Citizenship Week is all about raising awareness about what it means to be a good digital citizen. We are living our lives both in school, whether we're hybrid or remote online with learning, and we're also spending so much more time online now too with the pandemic. So how do we make sure we're interacting with the digital world respectfully, constructively, ethically, that we're creating things that are helpful rather than harmful? And that's what digital citizenship is all about. So I have a bunch of slides that I'm just going to highlight quickly, but they're more for you for reference so that you can share them with your educators. I just want you to see, we don't have to open these links, but in your presentation, these are all hyperlinks so you can share them with your teachers. And you'll see in the corner on the far right, it says engage families. I'm going to show you that link in a moment. But really our hope is that every day you're posting a question on your school's website and your teachers are asking your students every day a question related to these different topics. So, you know, on Monday, how can I create media balance in my life? And then Tuesday, you can see down that list, how can I keep my private information safe, and so forth. And then ending on Friday with really, how do we think critically about everything that we're seeing and creating and sharing? So if you don't mind flipping, Laura, we have this for middle school and then for high school. And then I wanted to highlight for you too, if you're not already registered at commonsense.org/education, it's totally free, but to download all of our resources, we just asked you to register. So go ahead and do that. You've got that link there. You can do that, you know, during the presentation or later. And then the next slide, please. I also wanted to highlight, we've shared this before and we're doing part of next week's session. We'll be talking about how you can talk to your parents about wideopenschool.org. But this is basically a huge collection of high quality resources that are designed to be supplemental learning opportunities for families and for educators. And we're really going to focus on how you can help your parents use Wide Open School to help their kids. So if you don't mind clicking on that link, Laura, the daily plan there, just so you can see, we've designed this so that every day you can find other activities. So maybe, you know, it's a hybrid learning day and your kids are going through their work really quickly and you're like, gosh, I really want some extra reading support, or I want some movement activities. But you can see for next week, we've already started every day. There's going to be a different digital citizenship lesson. And it's not up yet. Every day there'll be an activity for families related to digital citizenship as well. And then if we go back to the slide deck, I'm going to ask you to open up one more link on the next slide. Is, yes, this one. So the Common Sense Family Resources. And this is a great resource. There's family tips for all grade levels. And if you click on that, Laura, even the grades K through 5 for the family tips, I just want everyone to see all of our resources in general are in English and Spanish. Our family tips are in 12 different languages. So that's a really easy thing to either send home or post on the school's website. You're always allowed to share our resources. We have a Creative Commons license. And on that same link, if you go back to that site, when you scroll down, there's different family activities. And these are also really great for Digital Citizenship Week to send home or to post and say, hey, you can do an activity with your kids around media balance and well-being, or about thinking about digital footprints, or thinking about positive online communication. How do you act as an upstander, versus just a bystander if you see any cyberbullying happening or negative behavior. So I'm going to stop there. We'll talk more about that next week, but please go ahead and check this out in the slide deck, all of those links, and share them with your families. And thank you, everyone, again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tali. That's one of the things that we love here at the DOE. We partner with some really great organizations. So obviously today we are partnering with Everfi, but we also partner with Tali and Common Sense. And basically we're here to just support you. We want to make sure that teachers and our parent coordinators and everyone at the school level has all the resources they need to actually do this work, right? Because it can feel overwhelming, but we've got all the tools at your fingertips. So with that, we want to know who's in the room. So I'm going to launch our poll. So 1 second here. And I know that we probably have a lot of parent coordinators, but I know we also have some FLCs and some FSCs. We may even have some teachers. But take a moment, let us know who's in the room. And just as predicted, I'm already seeing we've got a ton of parent coordinators. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm already seeing there's, over 80 of you in here. Wow. And if you happen to be one of the handful of folks that have said other, let us know what you do. All right, I'll give you about 10 more seconds, and then we have one more poll before we get underway and pass it over to our colleagues at Everfi.
Laura, we have several people asking for a link to this presentation. So if you or Latiqua can drop it into the chat, that would be fabulous.
Sure, sure. All right, let's end this one, and then let's do a little fun. How are you feeling? So let me get that poll up. All right. So hopefully you are feeling excited for Friday, excited for another weekend, but it's perfectly okay if you're I feel like we always get a lot of tireds. Derry, your picture on this poll is very popular. And it's perfectly fine if you're in that tired category. It's always another long week, right? No, and it's looking like we're pretty evenly split between tired and happy. So I'll give you guys a few more moments. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end this poll. We just like to kind of do these things. It's not just something that you can do with students to kind of read the room, but also it's important to check in with each other as adults. How are people feeling? Kind of what's going on in the world. I know that right now things are a little crazy, but it's always good to do some time for just like checking in and making sure we're all okay. So with that, we are going to pass it over to our colleagues at Everfi. I know we have Chloe and Meg and Pooja on the line, along with a couple of other colleagues from their team. So happy to have you ladies, and excited to learn.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Laura. We are very excited to be here today. I will go ahead and share my screen here now. Okay, are we good to go?
Good to go.
Awesome, thank you. So good morning, everyone. It is so great to be here today. My name is Meg, and I am part of our New York City implementation team with Everfi. And we are here today to talk with you about our partnership with Facebook that we have on their Get Digital program and all kinds of wonderful resources around digital wellness and digital citizenship and how to promote this across your school communities. So our agenda for today is first we'll do some introductions. We are very excited to have a representative with us here from Facebook as well today. And so in addition to that, we will also talk through, the Get Digital resources themselves and how to access them. We'll do a curriculum deep dive into the Get Digital curriculum and also some additional resources through the Everfi platform. And then we'll talk through just some general action items. And like Laura said, please feel free to chat in questions throughout. We are excited to engage with you all today. So like I said, my name is Meg. I am a senior schools manager on our New York City team. And we, Chloe, Pooja, and I, we work together to support different boroughs across New York City. So we collaborate really closely, but then we also have a direct contact person for the borough your school is in. So I directly support the Bronx, Manhattan, and Brooklyn. Chloe, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself as well?
Sure. Hey, everyone. It's great to be here today. You'll hear from me a little bit later in this presentation, and it's great to see some familiar faces in a chat. Shout out to Eileen Lennon, our Everfi ambassador. But I support Queens specifically. I used to be in the classroom for 4 years, and I've worked at Everfi for about 2 years, and I'll pass it over to Pooja.
Thanks, Chloe. Happy Friday, everyone. So like Meg mentioned, we all work specifically with certain boroughs. So I work with Staten Island, and I've been with Everfi for just under 2 years, and I'm happy to be here with you all today.
Awesome, thanks so much. And like I said, we do have Holly Hawkins joining us today from Facebook as well. And she'd like to share just a bit about herself and the partnership that we have with Facebook and the Get Digital program. So Holly, are you here? Okay, looks like maybe Holly has not been able to join. Let me go.
Holly is here. We have to unmute her mic.
Oh, okay.
So one of the hosts can do that. I think
Okay.
I can do that. Okay, Holly is unmuted and ready to go.
Great, thanks, Lisa.
Yep.
All right, fantastic. Good morning, everyone. My name is Holly Hawkins, and I'm from the Global Safety Policy and Programs team at Facebook.
We're having a session with Facebook. I'm very
And I am delighted to be with you here today. At Facebook, we are committed to helping build safe, healthy, and supportive digital communities. And one of our key concerns is the safety and well-being of young people. We work with safety experts, we work with academia and NGOs across the US and around the globe to build strong programs that help keep them safe online, that support healthy engagement and resilience, and that provide young people with skills to use the internet for good, to give young people a voice, which is critical during these unprecedented times that we're in. And we know that back to school looks very different this year due to COVID-19, with a large number of students learning either in a hybrid model or fully remote learning model. And parents, teachers, administrators around the world are facing a myriad of challenges, including maintaining the safety and well-being of their children and students. We most recently launched Get Digital, our digital citizenship and well-being program that we're going to review today. It's designed to bring educators and parents the resources needed to help young people thrive in today's complex digital world. Understanding these resources are more important now than ever before. We included the voice of the parent and educator in the development of Get Digital to help meet their needs, and we continue to include them and to listen. We held a series of roundtables with educators in June and heard firsthand of their struggles, how they were losing children, the difficulty in keeping them engaged, the concern for bullying as today's classroom is a window into their students' life, that teachers were losing the connection with their students, the ability to offer them support during this time when students need them most. We held roundtables with parents. They are concerned about balancing screen time, balancing their own work, and supporting their children's remote learning needs. And we've partnered with Everfi to provide resources to educators and families. Get Digital is available in 9 different languages, with additional languages coming this winter. And this provides you with translated conversation starters, activities, and tips to share with parents and caregivers to help meet their needs. We'll continue to add new resources for families in the coming months, including tips for parents on their children's well-being. So again, it's a pleasure to be here with you today, and I want to thank you for the work that you're doing to support students and families during this difficult time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Holly, for sharing. We are so appreciative of this partnership and the work that Facebook is doing. And we're really excited to show all of you as parent coordinators and advocates for your schools and communities more about these resources and how to get access. So let's go ahead and dive in. We'll talk a bit first specifically about the Get Digital program and what it looks like for families. And then we'll dive a bit more into some student-facing resources and additional tools. But before we do that, wanted to do a quick Mentimeter. I'm not sure if you all have used Mentimeter before, but what you can do is either pull up your phone or a web browser, and you will go ahead to menti.com. So again, you can just pull up, Safari on your phone or a Google Chrome web browser, whatever works best for you. And once you have that pulled up, you are going to enter in the code at the top there. So you'll see the code is 5072605. And again, you just have to type in menti.com, and then it's going to ask you for that code. And then you're going to type in your response. So once you have menti.com pulled up, want to hear what you all think. So this is pre-digital learning. So we know those numbers have increased even more so right now, but pre-digital learning, on average, how many hours do you think kids would spend on technology per day? Was it 5.5 hours, 7 hours? Oh, a lot of us think 5.5 hours. Okay, 8.5 hours or 12 hours. So we'll give you about 30 more seconds to get in your responses here. And again, you just type in menti.com. It's going to ask you for the code right away. And the code is 5072605. So how many hours on average would kids spend on technology per day pre-digital learning? All right, it looks like 5.5 is the general guess there. We'll get to the answers in just a second, but first I have one more trivia question for you before we get to that slide. So the next one is, let me click over here. The next question we have is for you all to guess the percentage using our little slide object. So it should pop up in your Mentimeter browser that I've gone to a new slide. So you can just click on that to go to the next slide. And we'll love to hear you all guess what percentage of students acknowledge that they agree that social media has a negative impact on people their age. What percentage of students do you think are acknowledging that they agree that social media has a negative impact on people their age? So you can see there the responses are coming in with those kind of cone guesses. It looks like the average is we're guessing around 40-ish% of students are acknowledging that they agree that social media can have a negative impact on people their age. Okay, looks like we're hovering right around 30%. So we'll go ahead and show you the results now. So I'm gonna pull that back to our slide here. And so the results are, so we guessed 5.5 hours were the average number of time that kids were spending on technology per day. And it's actually, this was again, pre-digital learning. It was actually 8.5 hours on average that kids were spending on technology per day. So we know that number has increased even more now with digital learning going on in this hybrid model. So it's more important than ever that kids are getting this education around digital wellness and how to be good digital digital citizens. And the second statistic there, we didn't have a trivia quiz on this one, but this is the percent of teens that are agreeing that being online and having access to their phones while they're working on homework can distract them. So that's 54% of teens agree that being online and being in the digital world can distract them. And then lastly, this was the stat we guessed on. So I think we guessed the average was around 40%. Actually, 68% of teens agree that social media can have a negative impact on many people their age. So that stat was actually higher than we guessed. So we want to make sure that kids are really getting the education they need around how to have healthy digital communities that they're living in, because it is such a big part of their lives. So this is a bit more background on the digital Get Digital curriculum that Facebook has created. So Facebook obviously is committed to helping build healthy and supportive digital communities, especially for young people. We know that young people are the most affected oftentimes by bullying and by the media that they are presented with. So they're very committed to helping create those supportive communities. So the goal is to really help children stay safe online while also empowering them to positively influence the communities around them, whether it's online or in person. And the resources were designed to be used by educators and by families. So we'll talk a lot about, as parent coordinators, how you can bring these resources to families, but then teachers also have full curricula as well that they have access to. And Get Digital is designed to really help students safely navigate a wide array of online experiences across the internet. You can see there were plenty of partners that contributed to the development of Get Digital, partnered with the Harvard Berkman Klein Center for Youth and Media, the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, ISTE, which we know is a huge partner in technology education. Oh, sorry, dog barking. 1 second, I'm going to shut my door. That 2020 life where we're all working from home. And also they partnered with the National PTA to help develop the curriculum. So let's go ahead and talk about how to access the platform. So the platform itself is going to have 5 different pillars, which we'll dive a bit deeper into in a bit. There's digital foundations, digital wellness, digital engagement, digital empowerment, and digital opportunities. And I want you all to be able to know just kind of how to access that family page that exists. So you all can open up, if you want to kind of explore as I'm speaking, you are more than welcome to, and you can visit getdigital.everfi.com. So in your browser, that will be getdigital.everfi.com. And that's going to take you to the parents and caregiver page that has a ton of resources that parents can use to talk with students, their children at home, about digital wellness. So like I said, you're more than welcome to explore that as we work, as I kind of talk through this. We'll dive a bit deeper into it in just a bit. But I also wanted to make sure to highlight on this page that there is the additional languages that Holly mentioned. So if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you're going to see there are all these foreign translations. So there are 2 different versions of Spanish that students can access the curriculum in. There are lessons in French, German, Italian, Korean, Portuguese, and Swahili. So all you have to do is click into that, and families will be able to access the lesson pack in the language that they speak at home, in one of these languages. So that is there for families. And then let's go ahead and dive into the curriculum itself. So like I mentioned, there are 5 main pillars that the Get Digital curriculum is focusing on. So Digital Foundations is going to teach students how to leverage tools to protect their digital devices and really have that digital safety component of digital citizenship. There's a digital wellness side of things that helps support students' ability to engage with others online, prevent any cyberbullying, and really really thrive in healthy online communities. There's the digital engagement side of things that's helping students learn how to think critically when it comes to engaging with the media that they see online, and really help stop the spread of, the fake news that goes on in the world. There's the digital empowerment side of things that helps students learn how to leverage social media to create change and enact change on their communities. And lastly, there's the digital opportunities component. So that's going to help prepare students for the next wave of technology and help them succeed, in their present day and also in the future in their future careers. So those are the 5 main pillars that the Get Digital curriculum is focusing on. And like I said, there's multiple components to this. So we're focusing pretty heavily on the parent and caregiver side of things today, since we're joined largely by parent coordinators, but there's also the educator lessons that we'll briefly show you. And of course, tons of resources for students to engage with as well. And to give you all a little bit of a deep dive into what the curriculum actually looks like. So if we look at the digital wellness pillar, and you can see on this page that I shared with you all, again, that's getdigital.everfi.com. The digital wellness pillar, you'll find within all of these, there's activities that parents and families can do with their children. And there's also different tips that will have tons of discussion questions that they can work through. So for example, if we go to this tip activity, you are what you share and what you post. This is going to help students. It'll have a few discussion questions that they can use. It'll give a little introductory lesson about why this is important. And then it'll have conversation starters that they can chat through, at dinner, or when the students wrap up their school day, or families are finishing up work. So they can ask, do you ever post something online because you want people to see you in a certain way, to help students process through how they may create a different online persona for themselves than what they may act like in the real world. There's questions like, I understand that you may have more than one identity online. Would you be comfortable with me seeing them? So really starting the conversation with parents, maybe, engaging with what their children are posting on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. So it's really helping to get these conversations started at home. And then you'll also see, like I mentioned, there's the different activities too. So these activities are going to have more hands-on, interactive, outside of the discussion questions, activities that families can do with their children. So it has different activities about what things that just processing through how they may feel if someone posts an embarrassing photo of them online, or if someone posts something they can disagree with. And then there'll be an activity of kind of having like emoji reactions to how students would feel if a certain thing happened. So it's really just giving parents and families tools to be able to have these conversations at home to really foster digital wellness as an entire community. So please feel free to explore the rest of those tools. And this is all part of DigCit Commit. So the DigCit Commit Coalition is including partners across Facebook, ISTE, Common Sense Media, and others to really help promote digital citizenship across, within communities and across the country. So the coalition, including both Facebook and Everfi, are using the ISTE DigCit Commit competencies. So they're aligned to that, and they're also fulfilling E-rate requirements as well. So with that being said, we're going to switch it off to Chloe now. So we shared the parent side of things that parents can do collaboratively with their students, and Chloe's going to share more about some programs that kids can work through on their line independently to continue to get this education.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Meg. So what you can see here right now is this is our courses. And I know someone asked in the chat if there's a cost for this, and the answer is no. Everything is 100% cost free due to our sponsorship, our partner model, just like with Facebook. So you can see here that we have 20 plus courses, and we wanted to share this with you all because you, as the parent coordinators, sharing this with families, are able to share this with parents, and also the educators within your schools can use these programs. Once again, 100% cost free. And it was great to hear in the beginning of this call, or you all chatted in the different things you're focusing on for November. I saw a lot of things like bullying, cyberbullying. I saw diversity, equity, inclusion. And you can see here we have a bunch of different topics in all grade levels. The Get Digital and Ignition courses or just specifically, sorry, the ignition course that I'm going to get into is for 6th to 9th grade. And you definitely want to pick, which grade this works best in your school with. But for those of you who maybe work with younger grades, we have a course called the Compassion Project. This is a social emotional learning course for elementary, 2nd to 4th grade. We also have a middle school social emotional learning called Character Playbook. 7th to 9th, we have a bullying course for middle and high school. And then we also do have that diversity, equity, and inclusion course called Diversity Foundations for High School. So feel free to check out any of these courses. We would love to talk more with you about the different courses. And something that we're going to tell you about at the end is if you would like to bring a training to your school for the educators to use Everfi, that's something we can schedule. So you can follow up with us and we can train your teachers on how to use this. But we're going to dive a little bit deeper into specifically the Ignition course in just a moment. We deem our Ignition course under the topic of, if you could just go back one more, Meg, sorry. Under the social emotional learning umbrella, because it used to just be about digital citizenship, but we actually revamped our course. We redid all of the content, all the visuals within the past year, and we've put a social emotional learning spin on it because we know all the different research. We know now the direct correlation between students or kids being on the computer, even adults being on the computer, on social media, and mental health, as well as your own social emotional learning. So in our social emotional learning umbrella, we put our Ignition course. And what we're going to do now is dive into it a little bit. So if we go to the next slide, you'll see here, this is a breakdown of what the course looks like. So the course is about 3.5 hours in total length. And this is an online digital course. It's gamified. It's, if educators are using it, something supplemental to use with their already made curriculum on digital wellness. And then it's also something that parents and families can use with their students at home if the educators at the school are not already assigning it. And it's broken into different lessons. So you can see here, there's 6 lessons. I'm going to dive into each one of those lessons so that you can get an idea of what this looks like. As students are going through our courses, and this course specifically, it's going to start with a pre-assessment, just asking them, hey, what do you know about this topic already? They're going to learn about it throughout the course. They're going to reflect, have a personal reflection, and then they're also going to be playing games throughout the course. And then at the very end, they take a post-assessment to see what they've learned. So that's a 10-question, multiple choice question quiz. What did you learn on that topic? And this course is offered in French as well as Spanish. And we know that a lot of you have chatted in different languages, and we really appreciate you telling us those languages that you would like to see the courses in. Hopefully over time, that's something that we will have the ability to translate our courses into, as many languages as possible. And on this next slide, you're going to see that we worked specifically for the Ignition course with Dr. Larry Rosen. All of our courses are made from subject matter experts. We make sure that we take courses and we align them to standards. So we really want to make sure that there's very meaningful work being put into the courses before we kind of, spit them out to teachers and to families to be using. So that is, if you want to check out his website, it will be linked into this PowerPoint if you want to check out who helped us come up with the content. So at this point, we're going to dive into the different lessons or the different modules within the course. So the first module is called Connections and Communities, and in this module, through the scenarios, some of the key topics are covered, such as cyberbullying, social comparison, emotional contagion, and including the best way to handle and prevent these situations. And then in the next slide, you'll see during this, you meet Alyssa. And the learners who are actually taking the course are going to choose how Alyssa should respond to comments to her posts and handle challenging situations. So on the next slide, you'll see that Alyssa posts something kind of simulating an Instagram post or, any type of post that TikTok, that students are posting nowadays. And you can see all the different comments that are coming in. Some of them are kind, some of them are unkind. So it really gets into that idea of, behaving or how you should be behaving on the internet, positive and negative aspects of online communities, and how to deal with, things that could arise on the internet. And then in module 2, we get into safety and into privacy. And in this specific module, we know that at age 12 is when students begin to self-report high-risk internet behavior. So we want students to walk away understanding how their decisions now can have a long-term impact on their privacy. And this generation, we know they've grown up with technology and they're continuing to do that. So they know how it works, but that doesn't mean that, you know, they're going to be savvy about the different risks that come with being on the internet. So what we do in this module is we follow things that Aiden, that's Aiden right there on the computer, he likes to do online on both his computer and his phone. He searches for new games, checks in on social media, he buys new video games, finds new apps, and sees how everything interaction that he has in creating this, and you get to create his digital footprint. So the screenshot right here comes from the course, and you can also see that this is an example of how this course is accessible for students. So a couple different aspects of the accessibility. Students will be able to have this course be self-paced, so it does not just run like a video. They do have to click next in order to get to the next slide. We also have different vocabulary development, so you can see what's a digital footprint. It defines it for the student, and then there's also a glossary that they can later on go back to have those definitions. And then all of this text that you see is also narrated. So in this specific case, because our course can be translated into French and to Spanish, it will be narrated in French, Spanish, or English, whatever the student chooses to pick, but it has the text as well as the audio. And then when we move to the next module, this is a great module, screen time versus offline time, so relevant to the current times because we know that teens aren't always sure how to disconnect or when they should disconnect. But just as Meg told us before with those stats, 40% of teens say that they wish that they could disconnect more. And we want to understand how the consequences of spending too much time online. So in this module, it's a game-like situation or a simulation where the learners asked to help Sophia make choices about how they will balance things that they need to do and things they want to do, thinking about time management, including lots of online activities and distractions. And to succeed in this game, the learner needs to find the right balance between online and offline activities and staying focused on things they need to get done, like homework. So really gamifying this idea of, you know, these important topics of screen time versus offline time, thinking about your social emotional, but also how can we put this in a game to reach our students. Moving on to the fourth module, this gets into technology and data. So while teens today are native to digital devices who express a high confidence in their ability to protect themselves and their data, they also admit to actions that compromise themselves and their data online. I think all of us can admit to that. So in many cases, in these middle school years, they don't have a full understanding of what to watch out for. So in this module, you'll see in the next slide that we start out with Malachi, who joins his friend in a new online game. And with all of our modules, we set up the scenario to highlight all of the cool advantages of technology, online games, phones, etc. But then we clarify that they also need to know how to handle the risks. So you help him set up a strong password, so they learn how to set up strong passwords and navigate the world of gaming chat rooms. And he also goes to a free game site that has malware, and learners help him decide what to do next when he clicks on the malware site. And then in module 5, we have digital rights and literacy. So, you know, creating online videos is one of the most popular activities that we know of this age group, whether it's filming themselves, playing Fortnite, singing and dancing on TikTok, or making stories on Instagram. So in this module, the characters Naomi and Cameron, they create an online video. And then you'll see in that next slide that the video goes viral and it's picked up by several sites and influencers. And the characters then discover that their video has been taken down because it's violated the site's policies. So the learners are introduced to concepts in intellectual property, copyright, and public domain or fair use, which is so relevant to, you know, what we're seeing nowadays, especially on Instagram. So students really learning about these different topics. And then in our very last module, module 6, it's called Evaluating Content. And this module covers topics that learners are introduced to through library science. And learning about doing research for schools also provides real-world insights into concepts like fake news. So the scenario sets up with news notifications, and the news story is picked up by various sources and friends. And the characters go through the sources and get feedback on the validity of the source and how and why the coverage varies. So you'll see throughout this entire course, we just explained the 6 modules, but you don't have to go in order. So let's say, you as the parent coordinator or the educator are doing this with students and the content or your curriculum is in a different order. You can go out of order and you don't have to do the whole thing. Maybe you don't want to do the module 6 evaluating content. You can skip that. It's totally up to you and up to the educator and the student how they want to go about the rest of the course. But if a student does complete the entire course, they will get a certificate of completion. And then we do have some scholarship opportunities, which we can talk about at the end of this webinar. So you'll see a little bit of data just from the DOE from the 2019-2020 school year on the next slide. So this is just to see some of the usage that we had in the DOE last year. There were almost 1,300 students using the Ignition course, and that was a big jump from the previous school year of 4,300 about students. And you can see that knowledge growth. So students started with those pre-assessments that what do you know about the topic in the 50s, 60s range, and the average jump of those almost 13,000 students went up to 87%, 88%, 85%. Those are incredible student growth increases. And then you can see there on the side, it says 65%, this is some student responses, 65% said that it taught them how to protect their safety online, 60% said it taught them how to protect their mental well-being online, and 60% said that it made them more likely to speak with an adult about an issue they're facing online. And you'll see a little bit more data of that student perspective. So the things that were asked: percentage of students who feel prepared to pick a credible website to use for a research project, set up privacy settings on social network, and determine whether an online resource is credible. The national average was, in the 60s about, and then the average within the DOE was higher than that average. So that's great increases and great knowledge gain. And then from there, I'm going to hand it over to Meg to do some trivia.
Awesome. Thanks, Chloe. Sorry, I had to get myself off of mute. So wanted to chime in with a quick social media break. So wanted you all to chat in if anybody knows which account has the most liked Instagram of all time. So you'll see Jennifer Aniston in the Friends cast, double tap to plant a tree, I'm not young enough to know how to say this, XXX Temptations final post, Kylie Jenner and Stormi, they all had under 20 million, but there was a post that had about, I want to say it's 54 million or so likes. So well surpassed any of the other most likes. Can anybody chat in what their guess is? I see Laura guessed it was Cardi B. Jamie Lillo guessed Chrissy Teigen. Chrissy Teigen is a very popular social media influencer for sure. Cardi B too. Okay, any other guesses for what is the most liked by more than 2 times of any of the other most liked posts? Lil Bub, I don't know who Lil Bub is, but maybe. Kylie Jenner, so maybe Kylie Jenner had another most liked. Kim Kardashian's a good guess. Kardashian's butt, they did say that broke the internet. Fitz fight. Kylie Jenner, lots of Jenner and Kardashian guesses. Okay, so the correct answer is, Sierra is a good guess. Face NYC DOE, Selena Gomez, Cardi. I think Selena Gomez is one. No, you know what? I think Ariana Grande is actually the most followed Instagram account. BTS, that's a good guess. Okay, the correct answer is the world record egg. An egg is the most liked Instagram post of all times by more than 2 times higher than any other like, has over 54 million likes. Literally, if you just go to Instagram and type in world record egg, that is what has the most likes of all time. So, social media, sometimes it can consume our lives, but there's always funny perks to it. I know it's so funny. So yes, that is by far the most liked post in egg. So we'll move on now to talk a little bit more about how to access the programs, how to get your students and your school access to the programs. This is also going to have a slide that you can share with families about how they can get their students started. But let's go ahead and move on. And Pooja is going to kick us off with this now.
Great, thanks, Meg. I definitely was not expecting an egg to have the most amount of likes, so that was interesting. But let's hop into how to give students access and how to get them logged in. So students will start off by logging into TeachHub with their NYC-DOE username and password as they normally would. Once they do that, they would then just go ahead and select the K-12 tab. Once they do that, they should see the blue Clever icon pop up on their screen. They can just select that. And then within that Clever icon, they should have the ability to view the Everfi app, which if you take a look at that last screenshot down at the bottom, that's what they will see. And then they'll just go ahead and select that. And then a banner will pop up on the bottom that says you have access to remote learning courses. Click here to add them. And that's what they would click to access the courses.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Pooja. And one thing I wanted to chime in with too, because we are doing this, is very parent facing. The one other thing to note is that if teachers set this up, this does make this process a bit easier. So the goal is that we're doing different trainings throughout these next 3 months for teachers to get these programs set up. But if teachers aren't setting them up and parents want their students to access on their own, this is the way they can do that by clicking that remote learning courses banner.
Correct. Thanks so much for sharing that, Meg. And if, as we mentioned earlier, if any of you kind of wish to share this resource out with educators and teachers, we'd be happy to connect with them and kind of walk them through how to set up their account and give students access as well. But once students have signed in and created their accounts, what they will see, this is what they will see on their student dashboard. And as you can see down at the bottom, they will also see that this course is brought to them by Facebook. So I think it's always nice to kind of have that familiar name to kind of get students excited, to start the course. So up next, I did quickly also want to share some educator resources that we also have available for teachers. So this educator resource tab will be located in either the Get Digital tile that teachers will have on their dashboard or the Ignition tile. But either way, they will have access to all of our Get Digital resources and platforms. So that is something that we also recommend, you share out with teachers to kind of, give them additional resources to share with students as well. So up next, we did want to take a moment to highlight some action steps to leave you all with. So we will definitely be sharing this deck out with you all. So you can be sure to share this deck to get digital platform access for all your families that you're connecting with. And then we also do recommend that you take a moment to bookmark our Get Digital Educator and parent pages. Again, this will just make it easier for you to access in the future and share out with anyone that might be interested. And then we also, again, Meg, Chloe, and I all support different regions. So if you feel like this resource is something that you would like to set up a training or PD for your teachers, we would be happy to set that up and kind of work out some timing and schedules with you all to help get your teachers started and just, connect with them and answer any questions they might have about the Get Digital platform and Everfi in general. And lastly, I did want to highlight a special challenge that we have going on this month into next month. So this challenge started in September and will be ending around mid-November. This is a really fun challenge where students get to kind of, use their creative side, get that creativity flowing and build out a poster board to kind of, get students thinking, get their peers and their friends kind of thinking and inspired about how to use the digital platform in a safe and responsible way. So what we will be doing is we will ask students to kind of just speak to their friends and classmates and use this poster board to show, what are safe behaviors and actions online. So again, we do, because this challenge ends mid to next month, we do ask that you kind of share out this information with your students and families as soon as possible, because we want to make sure we get those entries in, because the first 500 entries will be the ones that'll be judged. So we want to make sure all your students have kind of a head start and enough time to prepare for this if they're interested. And then we also do have the website link down at the bottom where you can kind of, get more information. Again, feel free to share this link out with anyone that you think might be interested as well. And then lastly, on today's slide, we just quickly wanted to highlight again, Meg, Chloe, and my email. Again, if you have any questions or you will, kind of wish to connect with us on a one-off basis, talk about any trainings, PDs, or any educators you think we should be connecting with, feel free to share out our email and we'd be happy to, get the conversation going.
Awesome.
Thank you. I just wanted to bring up a question that was asked during your session, which is, would Everfi do workshops for parents in a school on topics like cyberbullying and cyber safety?
Yes, that's a great question. So something that we can do is we can arrange if we wanted to do like a PTA type thing to help them, access the resources and things like that. We are more than happy to kind of chat through best practices for using the content around Get Digital at home and things like that. So that would be definitely, if that's something you're interested in, you can reach out to your borough's schools manager, and that's something we can chat through.
Terrific, thank you. And Laura or Derry, I think one of you were going to come back with some wrap-up remarks, answer any questions that we saw in the chat, and also share what we have planned for next week.
Yes, first I just want to thank Meg and Chloe and the entire Everfi team. Oh my gosh, this was so good. So many information that we can share with our parents and our school community. This is a really, really special topic because we are living in the digital world now, and this is great to add to our toolbox to really just empower parents to understand how they can balance social media and some best practices. So thank you again, Megan and Chloe, just for bringing this wonderful information on our PD Fridays. So again, everyone, please, please, please know that I promise, I'm going to send you this pre-recorded video plus the resources and any information that, any questions that you may have in the chat. Let me see if I can answer it, and then send it to you at the end of the week wrap-up email. So really quickly, on your screen, click yes or no if you receive the end of the week wrap-up email. You should be able to see it on the right hand. Okay, we're seeing a couple. It's on the right hand side. It's a red check mark. So click yes or no, or you can chat. Yes, yes, yes. So we're seeing a lot of yes. So that's good. It's a good thing. To our FLCs that are in the line right now, I will send actually a separate email just for you so you can share that information with your parent coordinators if they missed today's session. We know we have about, I believe, 1,600 PCs across New York City, so we want to make sure that everyone is aware. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And we want to also thank Holly. Thank you, Holly, at Facebook, just for providing some more awareness on how to be more conscious on Facebook and also on digital platforms. And lastly, I want to thank Tali at Common Sense Education. Please take advantage of all of the digital citizenship workshops that are happening on Digital Citizenship Week. I love it. I actually clicked on some of the curriculum, and you have everything from elementary, middle school, to high school information. There's activities for the younger kids. There's actually even color books. So please take advantage of that, and share with your parents in your school community and also in the district. I want to leave you with one last thought. If you missed my announcement this morning, next month is Family Engagement Month. If we had some pom poms, I want to just like shake my pom poms, whistles. Let's make some noise in the chat because it's all about parent empowerment next month, and we need your help. I'm going to share really quickly my screen just to share with you. That's right, Lisa. Exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for you to hashtag, and next week, I promise you, I'm gonna share with you our FACE toolkit and how you can promote family engagement and use our hashtags. So we have hashtags, we have messages for parents, we have amazing partners. Again, we will have common sense education that will be providing some amazing workshops. We also have the Brooklyn Nets. The Brooklyn Nets will provide live shout outs and also provide virtual clinics, basketball clinics, things that parents can do at home. You necessarily don't have to go outside, but they have some strategies that you can host a clinic in your home. We also have some amazing read alouds. So we have some authors that will join us to do read alouds on a virtual platform. We are going to have our chancellor, our deputy chancellors give special remarks. It's all about family empowerment. So please, please, please start thinking about some of the ways that you can showcase. It's all about showcasing. You don't need to do something new. You just want to show exactly what you guys are doing in your school community. And throughout this training, we learned about how to post your story, your school story. We introduced some social media platforms on how to take advantage of Instagram, Facebook, and to post your school stories. So let's share our positive stories next month, and let's celebrate how we empower our families and how we believe in we believe in the power of partnerships, and that our parents are our allies in this work. So stay tuned for next week. I promise you, I will show you some exciting tools, but I want you to start thinking about what you guys can do in your districts and your schools, and who can you collaborate. So today we gave you a resource that you can actually use. So use some of this information at Everfi, introduce us, and maybe perhaps you can host a workshop on it. So that's about it. Again, thank you, our FLCs, our FSCs, our parent coordinators, our teachers, and everyone that participated in today's training. We hope that you enjoyed our FACE PD Fridays in collaboration with our amazing DIIT. And I apologize that I've always said this wrong, but our digital empowerment team, Laura, Lisa, Christine, and Latiqua. Thank you. Empowerment at DOE, you are awesome.
Thank you so much, Derry. We're super excited to be able to help all of you and to provide support. So a couple of things just to kind of wrap us up here. So as stated, next week we've got another great session planned, and you're going to hear more from Tali at Common Sense. We spent this week and next week really kind of highlighting all the digital citizenship resources, and that's not by accident. As Tali said, next week is Digital Citizenship Week, and we know that this year, more than ever, this work is so pertinent to our students and our schools, right? All kids at some point are doing some form of remote learning. If it's full-time, for some kids, it's for part of the week, but either way, they're online, they're using these platforms, and we have to make sure they feel empowered to make smart and responsible decisions. So next week, Tali will be sharing some resources that Common Sense has. And again, we really invite you to use all the resources, right? Like, this is not just about saying like, oh, I learned about Everfi, I'm only using this. Like, honestly, all this stuff works when you use it together. The other thing I want to address, and it came up in the chat, and this is something that comes up quite a bit, is the question around translation. And we know that obviously we teach and work with such a diverse population of students and families, and our families need translations. However, you don't have to actually put any type of widget or button for translation on your website. That's like an antiquated way of doing translations. Instead, what you need to make sure to do when you want to reach the widest audience possible is you want to write for effective translation and write in plain language. Basically, what that means is you want to write so that whatever you're writing can be easily translated by AI. What we know to be true is that individuals that need content in a language other than English, they actually do it on their own. They set their device to whatever language. For many of us, we utilize the English language. It's the default on a lot of our devices. However, families can set that to Spanish, French, Afrikaans, literally whatever language they want, and then things always auto-translate on their end. So that is why for families, it is so important that you're just writing in plain language, because then it ensures that the translation is as accurate as possible. When we tend to write in like what I call edu jargon, all those really big fancy words that only educators use, or when we start using a lot of acronyms like IEP and FLC and FSCs, like all these things that we use within the DOE, this little alphabet soup we've got going, that means nothing when it gets translated. So if you need more support, I know that Lisa just dropped into a document, some more information on how to write in plain language. We also offer some on-demand classes. We do a class live as well where we show the on-demand class. But please, 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 if you need support with translations, we can absolutely help you. But it's not a widget or an extra thing you add. It's really more of like how you're writing and writing for that effective translation to happen. And the two classes that we offer, it's called Writing in Plain Language and Writing for Effective Translation. So those are the two names of the classes. They are on-demand classes. And again, Lisa dropped that link into the chat. So if you need that, we highly recommend. I mean, anyone at the school level who is, sending things out to their family community needs to take this class. So not just parent coordinators, but probably, your admin, school secretaries, even teachers, right? Like we all often communicate with families. So it is extremely important that we are doing our very best to make sure that that communication actually reaches them. All right, so with that, we do have a link for the sign in. Latik was going to drop that in just a moment. In fact, there it is. This class is called Digital Citizenship Resources with Everfi. So if you go on to that form, literally scroll all the way down where you see all the sessions, obviously fill out all the other information, but when you get to the sessions, it's the very last session that says Digital Citizenship Resources with Everfi, okay? And we'd love to offer you additional classes. So I'm actually going to launch a poll. We always like to kind of gauge where folks are at. So we will launch this again for the folks in the room. But just what classes or what topics do you think are feeling just most pressing for your needs right now? So you'll see that poll, it is live. And we definitely want to highlight that we want to be doing share sessions. And I know that Derry kind of touched upon that, especially as we head into November, which is all about, parent and community empowerment. So we definitely would love to schedule a share session for November. So kind of, this is not about doing anything extra. This is not about, kind of putting on a show. This is about what you really are doing in your school, how you are supporting your families, and how we can all kind of learn and grow together on that front. So it is in the chat. I see Derry fast and furiously posting our attendance link. Please make sure, like I said, to fill that out, but also respond to the poll that's also active right now on which session you would like to see. Again, next week, we've already kind of accounted for. It is going to be Tali from Common Sense who's going to lead us in PD. But moving forward, we want to, like I said, be responsive to your needs and find out what will make the most sense for you.
Laura, can you share again the name of the class that
Sure.
Tali is doing? Thanks.
Oh, that Tali is doing?
You said next week she's leading a class?
Yeah, well, it's going to be on Common Sense and really Wide Open School. So I don't know that it has an official title just yet, but it's going to, most of it will actually focus on Wide Open School, which she kind of gave you a piece of today, really, really briefly, but it is such a rich and robust resource. And we know that for many of our families who need support on those, like, at home days, the days when they're not in school, they're learning at home, we know that families are struggling with those days, trying to provide some structure, trying to kind of make sure that their kids have enough things to do. The Wide Open Schools resource is amazing for that. So Tali will walk us through. Again, it's a great resource. And she's an amazing partner to have, along with our partners today from Everfi. Thank you again to Chloe and to Meg, to Pooja, to Holly, to everyone from the team who showed up. I really, really appreciate you helping us DOE educators, because right now we all need the support, right?
So we have about 5 more minutes, and I just want to send another quick reminder that Chloe is still here. So if you guys have maybe a couple of more questions that we didn't answer, please feel free to repost your question. But again, Everfi mentioned that they can present this information at your school community, so they will reach out to you. Once again, just another friendly reminder that this presentation will be posted at the end of the week wrap-up email. So we will have the entire video plus the resource and the contact information. Anyone has any final thoughts, please share your thoughts in the chat as we close out our PD Friday. I know I'm leaving with with a full stomach of information. So thank you again. Thank you. And please make sure you fill out the attendance form. I'm gonna post it again on the chat. And this ends our PD. So I guess we have like 3 more minutes. If you have a question, we're still here, and we will end this PD at exactly 11:15. I feel like we need some music.
A little Friday music. Absolutely.
Yeah, we need to add that for our future sessions.
Yeah, we're definitely, next week, music is on deck for sure. For sure.
Intro, outro.
The perfect Spotify playlist. I have it.
Christina's going to be our DJ. I love it.
All right.
I'm into it.
All right, folks. And I see someone asking what the session is. I'm going to post it in the chat one more time, but it is Digital Citizenship Resources with Everfi. It is